What's going on? Right, how are you all doing? So, today I'm going to be talking to you about how we can all achieve the simplest and the best looking POV shots. Yo, so we're back. So to take you right back to the start of how this whole POV action came about, whenever I go on a big shoot or I'm going on a big trip that is going to be slightly different and hard to shoot, I'll kind of mix up all the different options of how I want to tell this particular story. And for my Vietnam trip, I was riding the entire trip on a motorbike. So for a trip like that, it's going to be quite hard to get decent shots throughout the day without having like a POV style shot thrown in there every once in a while. And I know it's very, very typical just to get a GoPro, stick it to your helmet and just use it like that. And in my personal opinion, I hate the look of the GoPro now. Hopefully GoPro will update a version that doesn't look so GoPro-y. Everyone kind of knows it. I done my dissertation on GoPro and that kind of just ended the whole GoPro scene for me. Don't get me wrong, they're a great tool and they're a great camera. I personally just don't like using them anymore. I just don't like the look out of them. So, how did I come up with this idea? So I thought to myself, right, I want to get sick POV shots. How am I going to create a rig that is going to allow me to do a POV shot? And initially I looked into ways of somehow strapping my A7S onto my helmet, and that weren't going to happen. Here we go, look, here's the helmet from the actual trip. It's still got a load of mud and dust on it. These lads are going to sort me out a new helmet. Let's check one out. Told ya, check this number out, look. 777 on the back. Don't know what it means, but it's cool, right? I literally bought it on the side of the road. It was like £7 and it's a pretty decent helmet. Everything's just cheap in Vietnam. So I originally thought, let's get a GoPro mount and stick it on the front here, and then I can mount my actual camera onto the top. I tried that and it was just too wobbly. The camera was too heavy on my helmet. Ideally, you'd weigh the back of the helmet down, but I just thought, nah, too much hassle. I'm not going to actually get to where I need to go today. So that didn't work. I know a lot of people actually make helmet rigs for POV shots, and this particular trip was very run and gun. It was more of a travel trip and I was making a vlog out of it than a shoot, so I wanted to have something that was really, really simple, really nice and easy to use. So I came up with this small idea to actually use a GoPro mount, and this has been done a lot with GoPros, but I've never seen anyone do it with an actual full-size camera before. When I say full-size, I'm just talking like a DSLR or something like that. In my case, my A7S Mark II, the Comlight adapter, and my 10-18 Canon lens. So I thought, let's give it a go, see what happens. Anyway, I tried it and it worked really, really well. To show you what I'm actually going on about, I'm gonna have to grab the A7S. So let's switch over to my RX100. So here's the A7S Mark II. And here's the clamp I'm going on about. It's literally just like a 1/4 inch thread. All you do is screw that in to the bottom of the A7S, just like you would a normal 1/4 inch screw. And there you have it, you see that? That is literally just the A7S, that little mount that I was going on about, the little GoPro mount. And I've also stuck one of the actual sticky pad mounts on the bottom, but as you can see, I've kept on the little plastic bit that stops the sticky bit from being exposed. The reason for that is, I'm gonna wang it straight in my gob. POV. So there you go, look, simple as that. All I'm gonna do is shove this in my mouth, and there I have my POV shot, and also you can keep it really, really steady. Simple. So there you go, that is literally it. It is that simple. So I thought originally, people do it with GoPros. I've never seen anyone do it with like a decent camera. So I ended up buying this, shoving it in my mouth, thinking, yep, that's pretty heavy. But then I just thought, sod it. Like, if you want to go and get a decent shot, you've got to make some kind of sacrifice somewhere. And neck comfort was my sacrifice for a decent shot. So as you can see, I've got the Canon 10-18 on here, which is really, really wide. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll film it now. Let me do you a, 3, 2, 1. So there you go. There's the right one, there's the Recorder, RX100, light. Yeah. I hope that made sense. So literally people, that is it. The only downside to this is it's a bit uncomfortable on your teeth and it's a little bit tiresome on your neck. Still stinks of sweat in it. Right, so as you can see, I've now got my helmet on, and as if I was actually driving down the road, I'll show you what it looks like. This video is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Can't believe I'm doing this. I've got complete control over it, and also your neck is a much better stabiliser than the top of a helmet that can wobble like this. You can keep it really, really steady. So that is the POV, and I really like the fact, let me get this off. Oh, I really like the fact that it's slightly lower than your face, for the obvious reason that if it was there, I couldn't see a thing, I couldn't see where I'm going. But I actually like the way that it looks slightly below your chin. Anything that's on top of your head just looks too high and you're constantly looking down. So if it's slightly lower, like just below your chin, it's not going to stop the view from your eyes, and it's also going to give you a really nice perspective without having to look down too much from the top of your head. So let me cut to a shot of the GoPro, which is actually mounted on my chest. It's all bumpy and obviously the chest mount isn't too secure. Now let me cut to a shot of this particular mouth, what shall I call it? A mouth rig, jaw rig, the jawbreaker. The jawbreaker, let's call it the jawbreaker. Right, so let me now cut to a shot of the jawbreaker rig in action. Obviously looks a lot nicer. As you can see, it's a lot more stable. That might be because of the in-body image stabilization on the camera, but I think it's mainly down to the fact that you can keep it really steady in your mouth compared to on your chest. Another thing that I think makes this very, very different to the GoPro is the fact that the GoPro obviously has a ridiculously high shutter speed, unless you're going to put an ND filter on it. Therefore, everything's really choppy and the shot isn't very smooth. Whereas, if you look at the jawbreaker rig, I can keep my shutter speed at 1/50th. So therefore, if you look at the edges blur past really, really nicely, and you get this nice bit of motion blur across the sides, and it gives you a really real feel. And stuff in the distance is nice and sharp while the edges are nice and blurry, giving you that kind of sense of speed, and it's obviously just a really nice natural way to look at a shot. Another good thing about this is it gets really wet and gobby where it's been in your mouth quite a lot, so you just ask one of your mates if you can quickly wipe it on their t-shirt. 9 times out of 10 they don't mind. Also, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, why don't you just get the normal GoPro mouth mount? Now, I've looked into the GoPro mouth mounts and they are quite flimsy at the end. Now, I needed something that was going to be completely rigid to the point where there was going to be absolutely no flex in it at all. It's just going to be completely solid, and therefore that's why I went with this. Yes, it's not that comfortable in your mouth, but does it get the shot? Does it work? Absolutely. So there you have it. That is how I do the POV shots. I quickly just want to save my ass from getting sued. Don't do this with a really heavy camera and snap your neck up like this. It does put a bit of strain on your neck, I understand that, and in your mouth. So I'm not telling you to go and do this. All I'm doing is telling you how I got the shot, yeah? Tell no one. If you are going to do this, it might be good to do a couple of neck exercises here and there. You know, bit of elbow grease, keep yourself nice and healthy. Anyway, people, thanks for watching this video. I hope it helped you out. I'll make sure I leave the link in the description for these little pieces. Really, really cheap, easy to get your hands on. Make sure you have a sick week. I'm jetting off. Have a good one. Sweet.